My father actually was a vet. He was in the Army for 13 years. And I remember as a kid, I would see him come home from work in his uniform. And I'm talking a little kid. I think I was 3 years old when he got out of the military. But to all the vets, we salute you. We appreciate you. We just want to recognize your contribution. So I'm Kathleen Gage, by the way, Vegan Visibility and Vegan Visibility Productions and Vegan Visibility Summit. Wow, that's a mouthful. How are you, V-Lynn?
I'm doing great, Kathleen. I'm just so excited to be here. And as the mom of a Marine, I'm really connected to Veterans Day. And the grandmother to a junior Marine Corps junior ROTC graduate, commander of his platoon, or his battalion, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sensitive to and want all of our veterans to know how much you're appreciated. Today is a day when we celebrate you, but I want to have this conversation with you too, because a lot of vets come home from active duty and don't know what's next for themselves. And one of the things that we can honestly say is entrepreneurship is a great way to get started figuring that out. And, being vegan actually helps with a lot of the physical, emotional, mental issues that you're trying to bring back in alignment. I mean, I can imagine what it's like to live away from home for however long.
Right.
To be in the midst of an all-out battle on the battlefield, and to really have things happening that, you don't know the why that's under it. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the why that's under the reason you're doing what you're doing. And when you have a vegan-owned business, you have a better opportunity to align more easily with that message. And we're talking about ways to amplify that message.
Yesterday we had the opportunity to interview Heather Zeitzwolf for our podcast shows, and that episode will be dropping in about 3 or 4 days. And she said something that it was another one of those aha moments for me about how we as vegan entrepreneurs are really very conscious about why we're doing what we're doing, that we're doing it for the animals, we're doing it for the environment, we're doing it for people's health. And it really hit me that there is a whole different level of awareness that comes with life choices that we make. As a matter of fact, today is my 39th year without any alcohol. I actually had trouble with alcohol. Yeah, the world is definitely a safer place. And when I say that, people think I'm joking, and I'm very, very serious, because I was one of those drinkers, but for the grace of God, I never harmed anybody permanently. I know that I had wreckage to clean up, but I look at that, and that one decision changed everything in my life. And was it always easy? No, it wasn't. And another big decision I made was when I identified as a vegan. And, that one actually has been a lot easier. And it's so interesting as I listen to some of the perceptions people have about vegans. And I was one of those people who was very judgmental about vegans. I thought they were very harsh and they were trying to jam their agenda down my throat. And really what it is when we get to a place where we really identify as vegans and then we move that into our business, it's about the awareness of what's happening to the planet, what's happening to animals, and what's happening to people's health. And I'm talking a whole food, plant-based vegan eater. And the distinction between when you're doing a diet and when you're doing a lifestyle. And I think about the animals that now are not harmed as a result of the choices I make. And it trickles down into virtually everything I do. And that's why with the summit that we're doing, the Vegan Visibility Summit, it's so wonderful for entrepreneurs of every walk of life who identify as vegan, whether you have a makeup company, a fragrance company, a clothing company, a food company, whatever it may be, a consulting firm, you're an author, you're a speaker. We are sharing ways through both you and I, V-Lynn, and 11 other experts they make a living by identifying as vegan businesses. They work with vegans. And it really is about having the tools to build your business. Because for me, it's not just what I eat anymore, or what I don't eat. I should say it's really more about what I don't eat, which is animal and dairy foods. It also trickles down into my cosmetics. I actually make sure that I'm buying cruelty-free vegan products, hair products, and obviously, yes, this is my natural color. It just happened to come out this way. But quite seriously, I do use products, and it's looking at cruelty-free, first of all, means no animal testing. There's a real distinction. You can have cruelty-free, but then it can be not vegan, which is really kind of a conflict of interest. But when you look at cruelty-free and vegan, then there's no animal testing, and they didn't use any animal products in the development. So those are all things when you're doing your marketing, you want to make sure that you are able to identify that and amplify it. One of the things I notice on LinkedIn with a lot of people, and it happens on other social media, but quite a bit on LinkedIn, is people use the symbols, the V symbol, the leaf symbol, the circle with a V inside, and that immediately identifies that we are vegan. People who aren't vegan may not even know what those symbols mean. We have a green heart instead of a red heart. That means that we're vegan with a heart, hopefully. And so there are different ways that you can amplify your message. And when I get somebody on LinkedIn who wants to connect, and I go to their profile and I see those symbols, I'm like, oh, yes, another vegan. That's awesome. And it's not that it's a secret club, because it's not. Our club is open to everybody, but it's very exciting when you find that camaraderie. Just like, somebody who in recovery, if you find out there's somebody that at a cocktail party, for example, maybe it's a business party, and you find out they don't drink too, you're pretty excited about that. And this is not about judgment on anybody for your own lifestyle choices, but it truly is about looking at how you can amplify your message in a way that you can do business with people you're more aligned with. So, Lynn, what do you think about that? You're on mute. What I think is I didn't take my lip reading classes. You are on mute. Let me try to unmute. You are on mute. So something happened, and let's take you off screen. And I'm going to just keep talking about marketing. And I actually want to talk about the summit. So when you get your microphone working there, V-Lynn, go ahead and come back on. But I want to share a banner with you. And I encourage everybody to go to veganvisibility.com/summit 2022. We're getting lots and lots and lots of people that are registering for the summit. It's absolutely free from the 16th, 17th, and 18th of November, which is right around the corner. You can join in at no cost to you. And we're providing this as a service. We also have a VIP upgrade level where when you upgrade, you actually will get some really nice bonuses from the experts. The value is over $1,800, and these are real value bonuses. Some of the experts are offering one-on-one time with them. V-Lynn and I, what we're going to do with the VIP upgrade people is we're going to have private trainings. We're going to talk about everything from how to start a podcast show, how to be a good podcast guest, blogging tips, social media tips, crowdfunding, because that's what V-Lynn is an expert at, is crowdfunding. And we are going to make sure that you have the resources that you need. We're going to talk about publicity. And in some of the private trainings, one or two of the experts will join in. This is after the summit. With the VIP upgrade, you get the full summit, all the replays that you can enjoy for up to a year, and maybe even a little bit longer. You get the bonuses, and then you get private training. Now, imagine being in a private training with somebody like Katrina, or with Matali, the vegan publisher, or Sandra Nomoto, who is a copywriter, and she talks about how to write good copy. And I'm going to see if V-Lynn's able to come in again. V-Lynn, is it working for you? It's not working for you. Okay, maybe what you should do is get out and come back in. And, I actually want to use this as a great, why don't you go ahead and get out and come back in, and we'll see if that works. I want to use this as a great example of sometimes stuff happens. All your best laid plans can fall apart, and you have a few choices. Like right now, I could go, oh, no, this is terrible. How did this happen? Well, it's not terrible. It happened because it happened. Yesterday, I was getting ready to go on to an interview and our power went out. It just shut down. And it wasn't just our power, it was for miles around. And they never gave an explanation as to why the power went out. And what's interesting is that as a result, I had to look at other things that I could do with that time. And one of the things that I did is I took a break. And so sometimes when things are falling apart or it seems to fall apart, all you need to do is actually step back, take a break, deep breathe, and you're good to go. I know V-Lynn will be joining us shortly, so we'll just wait until she comes back where she can share some of her insights. But again, one of the things you want to look at in business is if you're building a sustainable business, what you want to do is look at the long term. You want to say, okay, where do I want to be in 6 months? For some people, a month is long term, but seriously, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Keeping in mind that it's a very fluid process. Nothing is set in stone. And you want to look at ways that you can amplify your message and really raise the awareness about what you're doing, especially in the vegan market. Because if your products and services are designed to minimize the cruelty to animals, to increase people's health, to help the environment, then you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the market to do everything possible to get your message out there. If you're not doing everything possible, the question would be why? Could it be that it's finances that are holding you back? Could it be knowledge is holding you back? Could it be that you don't have the time? And let's start with time. Time is very interesting. We're all given the exact same amount of time in a day, and some people are so productive during their day and other people not so. One of the things that can really suck your time is social media, where you're just sitting and watching TikTok video after TikTok video after TikTok video, and before you know it, 2 or 3 hours has passed where you could have written a blog post or you could have done a live stream like what I'm doing right now. So my recommendation on time is to really look at where your time leaks are and look at your day and see how do you start your day. For me, when I start my day by doing some yoga, I just go on YouTube and I grab a video of Jen Hillman is one of my favorite, and Adrian is another one of my favorites. And I do some yoga, which includes stretching. I do grounding exercises. I do meditation. I do journaling, and I usually go on a morning run. Yesterday, I went on a morning run, and it was about 29 degrees. And I have to tell you, it wasn't a very long run because it was a little bit miserable. But I got outside and I did what I needed to do to get my thinking clear so I could be very productive during the day. So my recommendation is that you do have a protocol to start the day. And from there, then have your to-do list. I always work from list. It's like, I could show you this right here. I've got a list, and those are the items that I go through and I check them off as I do them. I also look at what's my priority. What is the hardest job to get done? Now, some people say do the easiest thing first. I like to do the hardest thing, the most time-consuming thing first. For example, we're helping a client get their podcast off the ground, and there are a lot of foundational pieces that we have to put in place. That is a priority because the client is depending on us to get that done. So that goes at the top of the list. You want to prioritize by A, B, and C. A being very, very important. B being, it's important. If I get it done today, that's great. If not, it can go on to tomorrow's list. C is, you know what? I really don't need to be doing this at all, and taking it off the list. When you start prioritizing the tasks that you have during the day, you're going to get a lot more done, and then check it off. And it could be even something like balancing your checkbook could go on the to-do list. Paying bills could go on your to-do list. Cleaning out my inbox could go on your to-do list. Because as you accomplish these things and you take them off your list, then you're going to feel much more accomplished. So time is something that it's really about organizing your day in a way that you're going to be most productive. Taking breaks is essential. Don't try to just put your nose to the grindstone and not take any breaks. You have to take breaks, stretch. And I would recommend that every hour minimum that you get up, you stretch, you move around. If you work out of your home, take a short break. go outside. If you work in an office with other people, take a walk down the stairs if it's possible for you to do that. Go outside if that's possible, but really look at how you're organizing your day. And the next thing is knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, what do you need to do to get the knowledge in order to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish? With knowledge comes the knowledge of knowing what your limitations are. Are you capable of doing something that you can get done in 2 minutes rather than outsourcing it, or should you be outsourcing it? For example, my web design. I don't do my back-end web stuff. I have a team of people who do that. I have a team. Our team consists of somebody who does our graphic design, web design, podcast layout. I'm trying to think of all the things that we have team members for, but they take the time-consuming activities off my plate and off our plate and allow us to do what we need to do. And it looks like V-Lynn might be back. Let me check. Hey, V-Lynn, how are you? Where'd you go?
Oh, there I am. We're both pressing buttons. I'm here.
All right. Well, I was talking about organizing one's day around their time and also looking at what they need to gain knowledge on. And part of the knowledge is knowing what you need to let go of and let a team member do. And so often when we know that we need to let go of something, initially when we're training somebody to do something, it's going to take them a lot longer than when they finally get it. And a lot of solo entrepreneurs do this. They go, oh, it's just easier for me to do it myself. You won't grow if you have that mindset. You really have to discipline yourself to do the training, let it go, check it, and go through a process, because then you can grow your business. And one of the things I was taught by several of my mentors is look at the top 2 or 3 things that only I can do. When I was out speaking at conferences, I was the only one who could go out on the platform and speak for Kathleen Gage. Writing my books. Yes, I could get a ghostwriter, but I love writing. So that's part of what I do. And networking. And so, V-Lynn, when you think of your own business, what are the 2 or 3 things that only you can do and the rest you could outsource?
Well, exactly what you said. The things that only I can do are getting to the appointments and being there. And making sure that the conversations are the way that the conversations should go. And then the relationship building is so important, and you've got to participate in that. It occurred to me several years into my business that the companies that I worked for, the mortgage banking firms that I worked for, were very intent on doing customer recognition type of events and opportunities, small things to large things. And that was because of relationship. Mm-hmm. How do you build relationship but show up? And one of the things that I was able to encourage, because a lot of times in the corporate environment, you see that from the top level. And I encouraged, bring in everybody that does this work. Because when they know who these customers are that they are doing work behind, I think people take a different view of what it is that they're responsible for. When they don't have that opportunity to have some of that direct relationship as well, they feel disconnected. Right. And so, there are people that will do their best no matter what, but there are those who need that kind of incentive to know that their work really matters, that their support really matters. And I know that we've gone to, amplify your message. One of the ways to do that is in having others do for you some of the things that you don't need to do. I'm like you. I love to write. But I don't know that I should be the one that actually puts the hashtags to something and something like that. So, to the extent that I write the article, there's somebody else who is better equipped to handle the details of putting all of those other little pieces there. Of course I do, but that is something that I know that at some point can get delegated to someone else. And
Absolutely.
on a consistent basis, it helps them to, once again, see the contribution that they're making to the overall client experience, because they're doing this to help you, but they're doing this for the client
Right,
experience.
right. And that is such a great point, because a lot of times what we do is we kind of leave the team in the dark, like, here's your task, go do that. And they don't understand the integration of the entire team. And so the more that they can see the big picture, the more invested they are in the success of a project. And when we were talking with Heather Zeitzwolf lately, or recently, I should say, she mentioned something about don't price yourself as a commodity. Don't price yourself on price alone. Find that unique selling proposition. And I would say for virtual assistants, do the same thing. What is it that you bring to the experience that other people don't? And it's not just skill set, but it's the soft skills too. It's not just hard skills, but the soft skills. And that you're invested in the client's project. And I think, for us, that's what we do with our clients. It's like we really want them to succeed, because there are some people who go into an experience as a one-off. They go, okay, I've got this project. They finish it, and then it's like, now what? Instead of looking to the long term and saying, how can I help my client be successful so that they will want to continue to work with me? And that's part of amplifying your message, because we had a situation recently that we shared a few days ago on a live, where we booked an appointment with a company that had services we wanted to use. And it was very early in my day, because my early morning, I get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock every day. That's my usual time. Well, I've got about a 2 to 3 hour window of time that is my time. And on this particular occasion, I cut into that, set up the meeting, and I got ready for the meeting, and the person didn't show up. And never really gave a reason other than, oops, I missed the appointment. That was kind of the attitude.
And that was after the fact.
After the fact, they didn't even come in late. And what's so interesting is the hardest part often to get the conversation with the client is to get the conversation, that first engagement. And they say first impressions are the lasting impressions. And I'm really hard pressed to move forward with this particular company, because there was no explanation, no real apology. And not that people need to apologize to me left, right, and center, but when you didn't show up and somebody has put their time aside, that leaves a really bad taste in their mouth, kind of like meat in the mouth. Yuck, that's terrible. And but truth be told, you work so hard to get that call, that conversation, that Zoom call, and then you don't show up, or you don't show up prepared. That's another one. Look at, your personal appearance, what's going on in your background, things like that. It's all very important. So I would say that part of amplifying your message is to really notice what's the first impression that you leave people with.
I would definitely agree. It's like stepping up on somebody's stage. You want to be prepared. You want to know that you look right. You want to know that you feel good. So you didn't have that thing before you walked up on stage so that you're belching the whole time you're talking. I mean, these are the things that you take into consideration, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and it's also being prepared for opportunity, because it's been said that luck is when opportunity and preparedness meet. My dad used to say that. He goes, The harder I work, the more luck I have. And it can be like Josh Groban, I think his name is, when Celine Dion had a singer that got sick and couldn't perform, she actually contacted Josh and she said, you're on. If you want this opportunity, you're on. And it was one of those, in that moment, he had to make a decision. And he said he was scared to death. He said, I was so nervous. I was petrified. It was like, who am I to, open for Celine Dion? And he decided to do it. That was the turning point in his career. So often we work and work and work for something, and that big opportunity shows up disguised as just a little step in the road, and we turn it down and we've missed the opportunity. So one of the things you said recently is that it came to you from spirit that say yes to the opportunities that show up without being attached to the outcome. And that's something that I learned many, many years ago. You do the footwork for a project that you're working on or a lifestyle that you want to create, whether it be health, whether it be your mindset, and you do the footwork and you let go of the outcome. Because the outcome, if we're so attached to it, there's something else I heard, that the higher my expectation, the lower my serenity. So if I have an expectation of a certain outcome, now we can visualize and we can intend, but if it doesn't turn out the way we want, maybe it's going to turn out better, and we're not giving life the opportunity to give us everything that we dream of, really.
And I'm one who often says, if not this, Lord, something better.
Mm-hmm.
Because, there's always something better. There's always something worse. What do you want? I want the better. Right. And so when that opportunity shows up, it's you say yes, you do your best, and the rest is what it is. And that there's a good feeling in that. And I want to kind of parallel that to the vegan philosophy of compassion. Mm-hmm. When you have that type of attitude and compassion towards yourself, you can have that same attitude and compassion towards others. And sometimes with others, it takes that because, face it, we're not perfect. And although we would like to be, I know that a lot of businesses have gone under for the sake of perfection. Mm. And, one of my mentors, me, the perfectionist, used to tell me a lot. It's like, smart people, brilliant people will complicate things and will go into perfection when they feel like, they're insecure, when they are insecure. And so, with knowing that, quite honestly, every one of us started at the same place, ground zero, to build something. Mm-hmm. And it's really how is it that you're going to do that? I'm so glad, have chosen to do it in a way that is very collaborative, mm-hmm. and supportive and compassionate. And with the underlying premise being for others, ourselves, the planet, the environment, that gives a whole new meaning to doing business. Most people go to work and do business for the money. It's the money. Show me the money. And while don't get me wrong, I want to see the money. I like the money. I like playing in the money. I like the flow of money. When money flows, you feel better about mm-hmm. what you're doing and about what you can do. The thing of it is if that's all it's about, you're missing out.
Right. So one of the things I would love us to showcase, because we're talking about amplifying your message, let's share 6 different ways that people can amplify their message so that, it's like one is having the right mindset, but really strategies that are tried and true. And the first one I'm going to put out there is get on podcast shows. And as you get on podcast shows, and that's what I'm going to be talking about during the summit, is being on podcasts on both sides of the mic. When you are a featured guest on podcast shows, what you want to do is you want to bring your A game. Even if you've never been on a podcast before, that's okay. We were talking with Jana Short recently who's got nearly 1 million person subscriber list. And she said that she actually loves showcasing new people on her podcast show, people who have never been on podcasts before. And I've done that many, many times. And I like it when somebody says, I've never been on a podcast. Is that okay? I love that authenticity and that transparency, because yes, if you've got a great message that my community is going to want to hear, I'd rather you be brand new at podcasting than somebody who's done 1,000 podcast shows and they are arrogant. Their message is not aligned with what I'm trying to get out to my market. And so podcasting is a great way to showcase. The thing you want to look at with podcast is make sure that the ones that you're targeting are actually aligned with your message. For example, on my 2 shows, anybody who comes on my shows must be void of animal and dairy in their food consumption. That is a line in the sand that I don't cross. And if they say I'm 95% there, That doesn't work. I want people who have a clear message that I can take to my market. Another thing is have a bio ready for the host, have a high resolution image, have your social media handles, and not just the at Kathleen Gage, but Twitter at Kathleen Gage or whatever my Twitter handle happens to be. I mean, I have it written down. Your URL. And rather than going on a show and doing a major pitch fest, because I've actually had occasion where once or twice somebody will come on and all they're doing is talking about all their products and services. And it's like, wait a minute, we were supposed to talk about something else. And what people fail to realize is most of these shows are pre-recorded, so they don't ever have to go out to the market. So you want to make sure that you're aligned with what the host wants, and you want to make sure that you're thinking of who the audience is and your messages align with that. Now, hosting your own show, I would invite you to sign up for the summit because I am going to cover some of the things you need to look at, the most important things you need to look at when you're hosting your own show. So, Vlyn, I'm going to bring you back on, and I would love to hear what your next tip. You brought yourself back on. Okay, what's your next? We're going to do 6, and one is podcasting. So I'm keeping track here. What is another way that people can amplify their message?
Well, I'm going to go on the other side here and say sponsorships. Sponsor a podcast show, sponsor at an event, sponsor a virtual meeting or summit or conference. And it actually affords you a couple of things. It affords you the opportunity to select what fits for you. What fits in the way of, is this my audience? Is this my tribe? Is this the group that would look at me and say, I have something that they might need? And look at it if it fits your budget. There are a lot of sponsorship opportunities that require very nominal dollars to be invested. And it is an investment. Look at it as an investment. Look at it as an opportunity that when you sponsor something, someone, or some event, you are aligning with their message and you're able to speak in front of their audience. You've got visibility in front of their audience in the way of a logo or a video. Or if it's a live event, you might have the opportunity to come up and speak in front of the entire group. That kind of stuff is almost priceless because you never know what. And when I think about the speaking through video, that is awesome because a lot of times if you're sponsoring an event and you get an opportunity to have someone show a 30-second video commercial about the work that you do, you may also get the opportunity to speak in front of the audience. So you might have a double impact. So sponsorships are an awesome way to get in front of and be visible to more people. Amplify your message.
Absolutely. Here's a third one, which we're doing right now, is a summit. We have 11 experts plus the two of us who are putting a summit on, and we are partnering with these people. We handpicked the experts that we wanted to be a part of this because this is a marketing and promotions and visibility summit for vegan business owners or soon to be vegan business owners or plant-based eating business owners like nutritionists, speakers, authors, consultants, nonprofits, organizations, businesses that have a product that they put out to market, an actual physical product. And we have the 13 experts who are all teaching something on how to amplify your message. Now, the thing about being involved in a summit is you want to respect the fact that the producers of the summit are putting a lot of time, energy, and money into the development. So if you agree to be a part of a summit, you want to play full out. What we do is we actually have a speaker agreement, and it says, okay, here's what the summit is about. Here's what we expect of you. And here is what everybody agrees to do in the promotions of the summit. And the thing that you really want to do is follow through on your agreements, because maybe this year you didn't do everything you agreed to and you gave no reason why. Well, next year when they do it again, guess who might not be invited back? I used to do a lot of Amazon book launches back in the day. when you would do a launch and you would have a whole bunch of bonus gifts. And we would say, okay, everybody has to play full out because you had the opportunity to be showcased. The first book launch I did, we had 105 partners. It was like crazy. I tend to be a little obsessive. And we had 105 partners, and we made it very clear, this is what we want you to do in the marketing, because the people that were participating, the partners, they were able to give a bonus gift and people would opt in for that. So they were building their list. And it was so interesting to see the handful of people who said they would do things and then they didn't do it. And the next book launch that came along, they were not invited in. They had benefited, or we could actually take them off. It was actually pretty simple to do that. But the point being is, if you're going to participate in a partnership, play full out. Because oftentimes it happens that you have one partner who does so much more than the other partners. And what I love about working with V-Lynn is that we're equal partners in what we're doing. It's like she plays full out, I play full out. You know, there's times that we're working on a project and we might be at it for 10 hours that day because something has to get done. And we're not saying, oh, I can't do it. We're playing full out. So summits are a great way to showcase your expertise and to do what's called borrowed credibility. You might be fairly new to a market, but when you're put in the middle of all these experts, all of a sudden your visibility is escalated. So that would be another one. V-Lynn, let's bring you back on and you tell me what the fourth one would be.
Well, I'm just going to piggyback off of yours, because what you're talking about is collaborative events. And I love collaborative events. And knowing, like you said, there's a lot of work involved in whatever type of collaborative event you do. What you were talking about in virtual summits is amazing, and that is one type of collaborative event. Another, multi-author book launches. Now, I've been a part of some of those. I know that you have. I know that you've actually done some, and it's been really interesting to see the fact that collaborative events are the key to major success in this day and age. So when you think about the big names and the big authors, I want to give you a few. Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay. There's more within Marianne Williamson. There's more within that group. That's exactly what they did. As they were writing and launching their books. They had multi-author events, collaborative events. And I'm saying all of this to say, while these are strategies that you can participate in, you can participate in them two ways. One, being the host and doing all of the back end work that Kathleen was talking about. Or two, you can participate and be one who is a contributor to the energy and the experience of being an author and participating in this multi-author book launch. You could have your own book. You could be a part of an anthology. And that still represents a multi-author book launch opportunity. And by the way, we're going to be doing some of those. So
you took the words right out of my mouth. It's like we have some really exciting things in 2023 planned. And, we've got book launches, we've got more summits, we've got very niched summits where we're going to take a topic and we're going to go deep into that, whether it be writing a book, podcasting, social media. And we're going to bring you the best of the best, just like we have with this summit. And again, I encourage you, sign up for the Vegan Visibility Summit. It's the second annual. And it's absolutely free. I mean, you really can't get any better than that. You've got 13 experts. I've had my business 28 years. I've survived 3 turn downs of the economy. 9/11 really crashed and burned businesses. 2008, the real estate crash really crashed and burned businesses. And then the pandemic, when the shutdowns happened, it impacted a lot of us. And a I remember talking to my brother-in-law who is in mortgage lending, and he's been in it for quite a while. And he said, you can tell the true professionals when the economy takes a downturn. He said, the ones who are just riding the wave of, oh, times are good, they get out of it very quickly. The true professionals stick with it and they stay with it. And, my dad used to tell me that too. And been thinking of my dad a lot today because it is Vets Day and he passed 12 years ago. So he's on my heart today. But when you look at these different opportunities, you really want to look at what is a good fit for you. And that's why what we're doing with the summit is we're bringing you great information that if you're on a tight budget, you don't need to worry. If you're looking for the information and you have investment money to make in your business, we can certainly help you with that too. Now, another thing you want to look at, I remember probably about 3 years ago, I was out on a morning run, and I love running, and I'm the slowest runner always. If I do a marathon, I'm going to come in last. That's kind of my claim to fame. But I was listening to Lisa Nichols on part of my run. I was listening to Brendan Burchard, and I was listening to Tony Robbins. And I happened to be listening to all three that day, not at the same time, but I would listen for a little while. And it was one of those periods where I was saying, okay, what's the next thing that I need to be creating? Because I've been a digital product creator for probably 20 some odd years. And I knew that the time had arrived for me to put a new product out to market. Well, I heard Lisa Nichols talk about when one of her books launched in about 5 or 6 months, she did 150 podcast interviews. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Then I heard Brendan Burchard talking about how he promoted his book. And he said, I went on over 100 podcast shows during this certain period of time. Then Tony Robbins said the same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. Ding, ding, ding. The answer was so clear. So I actually created a program. It was a 1-month training program called the 100 Club. And the goal was to teach people how to get on 100 podcast shows within a very short period of time. And what's amazing is there are people that took all the information to heart, they hit the ground running, and now they have amazing opportunities that have shown up. There were other people who would go through the program and they wouldn't do the work. And then they go, well, this stuff doesn't work. No. It works if you work it. And so with podcast interviews, be very strategic about what you're doing. Don't take a haphazard approach, but who do you want to get in front of and then showcase your talent there. Another one that I want to talk about, number 5, I believe it is, that we're on, would be using social media effectively. Now, right now, we all know that Twitter is going through some growing pains or decreasing pains. We don't know which it is, but Twitter is going through a lot of ups and downs right now. And Facebook is going through some big ups and downs. Social media, you want to make sure that you're using it effectively based on who your market is, because it always amuses me when people say, you have to be on Facebook. Facebook is the place. Not necessarily. It might be that Twitter is a better place for you to be, or LinkedIn is a better place for you to be, or even TikTok is a better place for you to be. So you want to really look at how you're using your time on which social platform. So let's bring V-Lynn back in. And V-Lynn, what would be another strategy for amplifying one's visibility?
Well, we're in this space of collaborative marketing for visibility and increasing visibility. And I'm looking at the strategy of being an MC. And I know that the first thing that people think about is MC. I'm not the extrovert that an MC usually is. I'm an introvert, or I'm an extrovert and I still get nervous doing that kind of stuff. So there's a couple of things. One, for that extrovert who wants to be out there, what's a better way to get yourself seen, heard, known than to be an MC for a virtual event, for a live event, for a networking group. And at the same time, you are out front. You're able to say, I do this. I love playing with people like this. We were talking the other day about the playgrounds that you play in when you're doing business, and it's important to play at the right playgrounds. And if you know that there's a networking group that's doing things and you want an opportunity to focus on the group, but showcase yourself, that MC opportunity might be there for you. And if you are the consummate introvert, yet, this whole idea of MC is something that you're thinking, well, how does that even work for me? There are so many behind the scenes MC opportunities, right? And not just behind the camera. I'm talking about in front of the camera, but behind the scenes,
Right.
having people to know that you're the one that's responsible for helping to coordinate this or do that, and bringing you on to give certain information. It's like kind of like what they do on TV shows with an associate producer. The associate producer is often seen talking about a certain thing with the broadcaster, and then they're off and they're doing their thing and often get mentioned by name on screen or on camera. That is another way to get an amplification in your message.
Right.
And I just want to say, before we go further, I meant to say this earlier. It's like this 100 Club. We've got to bring that back.
Absolutely. Oh, it was highly successful because actually I just got a message the other day from one woman who participated in my podcast training, and she's done 72 or 73 podcast interviews. And she goes, I didn't always get an immediate result from a podcast I was on, but what it opened up for me was the courage to just put myself out there. And she recently got invited to be on a television program. She goes, had I not done all those podcast interviews, it wouldn't have happened. Matali, the vegan publisher, she also went through my podcast training, and she actually is right near her 100th. Everything in her life has changed. I mean, the woman is a rock star. And when she first started out, she just put one foot in front of the other. And now she's speaking at Veg Fest in England this weekend in the UK. She's one of the sponsors. She's on panels. I mean, it's crazy what's happened to her in about a year and a half, maybe a year and a half. And the thing you want to look at with anything that you do, with any action you take, is you might not always see an immediate result from the action, but it's that consistency. It's like, for example, when I trained for a marathon, I remember years ago, the first mile I actually walked, I was like, they're lying to me. This is far more than a mile. And I think I was 55 at the time, so it's nearly 14 years ago. And I walked a mile, and I walked with another woman, and we're like, okay, they're lying to us. This is much more than a mile. And then 1 mile built into 2, built into 3, built into 4. And before you knew it, I was doing a full marathon. There was no way I could have gone from taking that first walk to doing a 26.2 mile marathon without doing everything in between. So you have to take steps every day. It's really about consistency. And this is where I see the people who are succeeding, they are very consistent at what they do. They stick with it every single day. I've had people ask me, how much time do you spend on your marketing every day? And it's like, I don't know, because virtually everything I do is my message. And so I am my message. So if I do a tweet, that's a part of my marketing. If I do a live stream like this, that's a part of my marketing. And marketing is actually very exciting and very fun, because I know that when I put my message out there, there are people that I'll be able to help to grow their business, to do more of what they're here to do for the animals, the environment, and for health. And that's what I love about what's happening in the vegan space now. It used to be that it was only about the animals, and we've gone through some interesting growing pains and some interesting expansion, where a lot of vegans now are saying, you know what? It's about the animals, it's about the environment, and it's about health. And it's just phenomenal to see what's happening. So if you are a vegan business owner or a soon-to-be vegan business owner, and even if you're not a vegan business owner, but you want to learn strategies to grow your business, sign up for the summit. I can assure you it will be well worth the investment of your name and your email address. That's what we're asking for. And will we keep in touch with you? Absolutely, because we would be doing you a disservice if we didn't make other offers to you to enroll in different programs that we're going to be offering. One is we're doing a whole anthology project. We're doing more summits. We're doing launches of podcast shows. We're doing live events. Actually, V-Lynn and I, probably I would say in about a year, we're going to be doing some, maybe even sooner, some live events, probably in Atlanta, Georgia, because it's very centrally located. And that's where V-Lynn lives. And then we have to do one in Portland. I'm 100 miles from Portland, but we do have to do one in Portland.
Yeah.
You know, get both sides of the country.
Absolutely.
And then maybe in Canada, who knows? But, you know, we're having fun just watching this creation come to fruition. And that's what running a fun, exciting, profitable, and meaningful business is all about, is that you get to watch your creation come to fruition and you become manifest of that vision that you had, and then it becomes reality. So, V-Lynn?
Wow, that was awesome. I love that. And you're right. You know, I think Heather in our interview the other day talked about this letter, right? The V.
Mm-hmm.
And she said vision. And that's one of my big ones. I have some V's: vision, vibe, being in alignment, voice. When you're in alignment, you really can speak your message more clearly, more authoritative. Wait a second.
Authoritatively. Woo! I can't believe I actually said that.
I was on the right path.
Authoritatively.
Authoritatively.
How about with authority?
That works too. That works too. But, you know, vision, vibe, and voice actually equal visibility, because when you are in that space, you are more confident. You know you've done things more consistently. And if you look at that consistency as being like your training ground, would you stop training when you know you've got a big event coming and you want to do your best, especially if your best has the opportunity to result in a win, a big win? That's what we're doing. We're in training for what you get an opportunity to partake of, which is the summit.
Absolutely.
And I'm just so excited about all of our experts who've come in, all of the bonuses that everyone's. Did you talk about the bonuses yet? Oh my goodness.
You know, I have a little bit, and I know there's like Katrina is providing this really awesome bonus where she has a template for you to put a media release together. And what's exciting is I know Jana is going to be talking about how to approach editors of publications, because she's got a publication with a nearly 1 million subscriber list reach. It's just crazy. Matali, she has a great bonus on 16 ways to create your messaging around your book, you know, really proven strategies. And mine is a product that I actually sell. It's the podcast directory, and it's got 110 listings in it. And I sell this product on my website, and you'll get that as a bonus. The upgrade to VIP is only $47. And we've got, I'm trying to think, Will Saunders is actually offering a whole branding product, as well as one-on-one consultations with him at no cost. You sign up for the VIP level, and that's one of the bonuses. Sandra Nemoto, she's giving the e-book of 2 of her books. That is her bonus. You would otherwise have to buy it separately, and you get that as a bonus. V-Lynn, you've got one on, I believe, crowdfunding. If I'm not. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, one of the pieces of the bonus. So the bonus is the crowdfunding, the Vegan Crowdfunding Hackers Patreon package. And in the package, you get 2 months of access to my Patreon group where I do trainings. I actually have a system, the Crowdfunding Success Blueprint, that I teach, and people pay over $1,000 to go in this program with me. You get access to the workbook and just so much more. All of the trainings are actually what I'm excited about, because I even will be bringing in some experts. So what better way for me to talk about and teach crowdfunding and how to create your crowdfunding campaign, but to use a crowdfunding platform so that I can keep the cost nominal for participation. And my bonus is 2 months free.
You can't beat that. It's like, and the experts that we have, again, there's the two of us, there's Katrina Fox, there's Matali, the vegan publisher, there's Sandra Namoto, there is Heather Zeitzwolf, who is talking about finances and making finances sexy. When you're in the black on your finances, that's pretty sexy. When you're in the red, that's not so. And she teaches you how to stay in the black and be profitable, and also be able to contribute to nonprofits of your choice, sanctuaries, things of that nature. We have Heather Landix, who is talking about the food industry and how to actually amplify what you're doing in the food industry in a way that you amplify your profits. And we've got Janice Short. We've got Wanda Huberman, who is the executive director of the National Health Association. She's talking about how to put on profitable events, and she's teaching you from her own mistakes. But I got to tell you, this woman's a rock star, because she actually does an event that sells out every year. And the in-person sells out. It's a phenomenal event. They're coming up on their 75th anniversary in June, and you definitely want to be there. It's in Cleveland, Ohio. And she also does cruise events. So the next event, they're going vegan
cruises.
And so if people tell you there's no money in running a vegan business, I would invite you to join the summit and learn from 13 people who are running very successful businesses. And 2023 is going to be a phenomenal year for everybody. It's a year that we're growing. It's a year that we're getting to the other side of a couple of really tough years for so many people, a lot of loss, a lot of upside down. And 2023 is the year of the vegan business. No doubt about it. It is definitely the year of the vegan business. So I encourage you, sign up for the summit. Go to veganvisibility.com/summit 2022. That's veganvisibility.com/summit 2022. V-Lynn, we've been going for nearly an hour today.
I know, and I'm not done yet.
Go for it.
One more thing that I want to put out there for people to consider when you're wanting to amplify your voice, your message, and that is veg fests. One of the things that I just learned about recently was the huge Veg Fest happening in London, or just happened in London, or is about to happen.
It's about to happen. It's actually by tonight, our time, it'll be happening in London.
Okay, this weekend. Huge opportunities with Veg Fest, because there are people coming to Veg Fest who want to see. We're kicking the tires and they want to see what's going on. And many Veg Fests now have speaking opportunities for you. And they're looking for speakers. They want as many speakers as possible, because they are looking to educate all the people that come through. We're doing one here in Atlanta, the 4th of December. And we're still looking for speakers. I've got a couple of spots for yoga instructors. So if you're a yoga instructor and you're vegan and you're here in the Atlanta area, you want to be a part of the Georgia Veg Fest, let me know. If you're a speaker and you have a message that you want to get out there on a Veg Fest stage, let me know. But that was my other one.
Okay, and the idea is just keep flowing, because, okay, let's say you're an author. You've worked with Matali, the vegan publisher. She's helped you to get your book to market. She even publishes it for you. I mean, she offers everything from a do it with you, done by yourself. They can ghostwrite for you. They can publish for you, and she's top shelf all the way. So you've got this book published. Well, now what are you going to do? Get booked at all these different Veg Fests. Get booked at all these amazing events for vegan people. And if your book is like, I'm working on a vegan marketing book, and I have to bow down to Sandra, because she put out a beautifully done vegan book, and a vegan marketing book, and you get the e-version when you sign up for the VIP level. You'll get that at no cost. That's one of the bonuses. Katrina Fox was the very first person to ever write a vegan marketing book, and she wrote that, I think it was 2016 is the year that she wrote wrote that. And when I first became vegan and I was thinking about moving my business into the vegan space, I had the non-vegans saying, no, there's not a big enough market. And best choice I could have made because it's aligned with my values. So as I was looking at how to market a vegan business, what I did is I went on Amazon and I keyed in vegan marketing, and Katrina kept coming up over and over again. I went to Google, vegan marketing, Katrina came up, and I thought, one day I want to know that woman. Well, now she's a very dear friend of mine, and she's one of our premier speakers for the summit. So if you have a book, think in terms of, okay, what am I going to do to let people know about this book? Because it can be the best book in the world. If nobody knows about it, it's a great secret. We don't keep secrets around here. We just pull the covers and we make sure that people know about your products and services. So with that, V-Lynn, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close for the day? And then we'll see people on Monday.
There is, and I'm glad you said that. Great segue. I want to tell people that we will be doing these lives next week as well. And we'll be posting the time for each day. We want to capture audiences in the middle of the day, at the end of the day. So keep an eye out for those little social media posts that tell you when the next live is going to be, because we're excited. I think we both have really found our groove here. And so this has been more fun than I think either of us thought it might be. Not that
Absolutely.
it could be, that
it makes me want to sing the song, Grooving on a Sunday afternoon. And that's the thing. Have fun. Be groovy. Oh, I just aged myself. Oh, my gosh.
That's okay. That's okay. Because you're only a couple months older than me.
That's true. That's true. And I got to tell you, when you live a healthy lifestyle, a vegan, plant-based lifestyle, you reverse the aging process. I am shocked at, the fact that I look at my driver's license and I go, can't be. And, my mom used to say that about herself. So I'm thinking, oh, I've become my mother. But quite seriously, have fun at what you're doing. Go out there, make a difference in the world, leave a legacy, because really we each can do something to turn the tide around. And we can make a difference for the animals, for the environment, for our health. This is Kathleen Gage with Vegan Visibility Productions and V-Lynn Hawkins, and we're encouraging you, please sign up for the summit. You're not going to find this kind of information anywhere else but with our summit. Have a great day.
Bye for now.